Hello, everybody. Welcome to Haiku Talk. I'm your host, Ben Ga, your friendly neighborhood haiku poet. And today we're going to be taking a look at a piece from the latest issue of The Heron's Nest from Stefanie Bucifal. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing your last name right. With the first line of Pressed Flowers. And with that said, you know what time it is? Time to grab yourself a tasty beverage, sit back, relax, and let's haiku. All right, welcome back. It's good to be back with you again for another episode of Haiku Talk. And I am a little bit hoarse today. Was out a little bit sick this week, but wanted to get an episode in before the weekend is here. So, with that said, got a little hoarseness and got some ginger beer here to try to liven things up a little bit. This piece is really good. I mean, it's kind of a given, right? I wouldn't put on a poem here that's not good, but this one is one that I went through the whole old issue of The Heron's Nest a couple times, and this is one that just kept circling back to, and it goes like this: Pressed flowers, what I choose to remember about you. Pressed flowers, what I choose to remember about you. Wow, right? I mean, the poem, it's about memory. And it's about how you may or may not feel like you're an author of your own life because circumstances of life are what they are. But we are somewhat editors of our lives, especially when we think about the past and what we choose to remember, what we choose to forget, what we choose to hold on to, and what we choose to let go, and how we choose to think about things and remember things. And this is just such a wonderful piece because for me it seems to speak to a happy place with the pressed flowers. Usually pressed flowers are things that you keep as mementos for a happy time. Or if it's not a happy time, it's a time where someone perhaps gave you flowers because you were remembering somebody that you lost. Or perhaps they gave you flowers because they messed up and they were trying to make up. But flowers generally are in the spirit of kindness, of empathy, of a good time, and remembering good times. And it's nice to have a piece here that focuses on thinking about happy things in life. I suppose it also allows us to to edit out all of the rough edges, all the bad things, and just focus on good times. It could be that this relationship that's reminded or remembered by pressed flowers could have had all sorts of bad things happen, but there was one night that was worth remembering, and that's the one where we choose to remember. So let's take a look at how this works. The poem follows the fragment and phrase format, with the fragment being pressed flowers and the phrase being what I choose to remember about you. Now let's go through this line by line. First line of pressed flowers. Pressed flowers. It's a good one. I mean, it's visual. It engages my sense of smell. It engages my sense of past, my memory. Go back to, I've been keeping a journal for more of my life than I haven't, and know I've taped a number of different things in the journals over the years. So I'm thinking, it makes me think of proms. It makes me think of, weddings, funerals, first dates, all sorts of good things. Because that's what we do when you press a flower. You press it for a memory of something. Maybe it was just a beautiful day. Maybe it was something. But it's generally happy, and my mind just lingers on that one line for a long time before I even go to lines 2 and 3. But when I do break and go along to line 2, that line of what I choose to remember. What I choose to remember. It's a very powerful line, very empowering. Again, because it allows us to have choice about the things in our past, and gives us a sense of control, gives us a sense of, that we have the power and the right and the privilege and the honor and the whatnot to be able to make those edits about what we choose to remember. And you could stop the poem right there and it would be really good, with that, it'd be really strong. But it goes on with line 3 and gets interpersonal. The line 3 being about you. About you. Now, haiku and senryu are poems that aren't about the poet. They are about picking a moment and allowing the reader to step into those moments and make the moments their own. The old saying that a haiku is not complete until somebody other than the poet reads it. And that's because the poems leave all this extra space in there to allow the reader to come in, fill in the details, and make the moment their own. And it's going to be unique to every reader that reads it. The moment that's captured here, the flowers, who they're remembering, that becomes very personal to anybody that reads it. And that story is theirs, nobody else's. The poet couldn't have predicted what story the reader is going to bring to the poem, which is one of the reasons I love this form so much. And so when I see the I in a poem like this, I associate that with myself. When I see a you in the poem like this, I attach it to somebody in my life. And so it becomes that personal I-you relationship between me and another person in my life. It doesn't have anything to do with the poet or what the poet's life was about. I don't sit here and try to figure out what Stefanie was thinking of, what relationship she had with somebody, why she wrote this poem. I mean, I know why she wrote this poem. It's because it's a very human experience, and one that I'm very glad she shared, because it's wonderful to step into and remember things myself, and to be reminded that I have the power to edit my life and edit what I remember about people. And I have the power to control the good, the bad, leave in what I want, get rid of what I want. And that's pretty much all there is to say about this poem. It's a very personal piece. I'm sure that every one of you out there that's been reading this and has been entering into this moment with me, has gone somewhere very specific, very personal. Something that would take quite a lot of time to tell if you were going to tell the story about this moment, about those flowers. And that's another cool thing about haiku, is that in this one little moment, they capture something that springs about an entire storyline here. For some reason. For some reason, For some reason, I have lost power. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I think it's that time, curtain call. Thank you all for tuning in. Like this episode if you like it. Think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, where I have good sturdy light, a good power supply. Peace, everybody.